I am NSN Murthy. I'm part of IBM Smarter Planet initiative. Nowadays, I think you must be seeing a couple of ads in the TV and the newspapers about Smarter Planet. This is something which was 3 years back, IBM initiated and taken it as a challenge that look at areas which are beyond just simple IT initiatives. That's where we are focusing on. First of all, I would like to actually thank you, Dr. Sinha. He's actually started on a very bright note on giving a challenge to all the participants and panel members on costs as well as the end-to-end technology framework. Today is a little bit cold, but the facts are also even chilling. We have statistics, we have figures to actually prove that crime rate as well as the patterns of various crime is increasing. Earlier it was only a theft, bank robbery and stuff like that. Today, if you see 2 days back newspaper, US blaming other nations about the cyber attacks. So that's a kind of complexity in terms of security which every government department, not just the home, but every department is going through. So I thought, let me take that. That's on the colder note, but if I look at on the brighter note, have we done anything? In fact, if the only way to actually instill confidence in everyone is to go and mention this thing. These are the few cases which, as an IBM, we handled it with our technology. So I thought, let me have the cold statement as well as the warm statement. So there are instances, whether it is a Saddam Hussein getting caught, or the Osama getting identified where he is, or a Batla House case. All these things have been solved. People have been brought to justice. I'll run through a little bit faster. Okay, so these are the 3 areas which I think is the key part of it and cover a very broad spectrum of public safety. We need to fight the crime, but smartly. We can't actually fight the crime without a technology, without tools which enable us to go 2 steps further than the people who are actually into the crime. My colleague just spoke about the emergency management and the emergency evacuation services. This is something which is need of the hour. We have seen several flood situations in Bihar or in Orissa, Mahanadi. Every year, actually, it actually creates havoc in Bihar, Orissa. So there's instances which is not the emergency services just for terrorist attacks. Natural disaster in India is much more severe than the terrorist attacks. So we need to have those emergency services in place. And criminal intelligence, as Dr. Sinha rightly said, we need to have that kind of a database which will help set up a center which can do a proactive analysis and run those analytics to catch or predict the crime patterns before even it can happen. I just want to actually run a video, a small video.
You know, a guy just robbed me. He stuck a gun on my face and took everything.
Do you know what he was wearing?
No, I'm not sure. It happened so fast. All I know, he had a tattoo on his neck.
Okay, sir. Police are on their way.
On Saturday, November 5th, a male walked into a Midtown pizzeria.
He ordered 1 slice of pepperoni pizza, sat down in the back of the pizzeria, and remained there until closing. At this time, the owner approached him and asked him to leave. The gentleman produced a silver handgun, took the owner at gunpoint around the counter, and removed a large sum of money from the cash register.
On the way out of the location, the manager noticed that he had a tattoo on his neck. Had the word sugar written in it.
We're heading north over here, and we're passing 11th Street and Avenue B, and that was a big block for crime. Very big block. There was a place over here called the Brown Door, which used to serve heroin and cocaine, and junkies used to flock all night long over there to buy the stuff.
Growing up as a kid in the Lower East Side, it was not the best of neighborhoods. Drug use was very big, the crack epidemic, I saw a lot of that. There were also street gangs that ruled a lot of the neighborhood.
My parents wouldn't allow me downstairs by myself.
When I was in the detective squad in 110 in Queens years ago, I remember putting 189th robbery on the sheet.
When the NYPD focused on the street-level crime, that started the changing of this neighborhood. Thompson Square Park, where the homeless used to eat pigeons, now it served a squab on Avenue B.
In the aftermath of the attacks of September 11th, we simply had to do more with less. Our budget was cut, our personnel was significantly reduced. It's a classic case of trying to be more efficient, more effective with diminishing resources.
I think the vision from Commissioner Kelly's standpoint was how do you utilize and leverage technology to do a better job of providing a knowledge-based tool for the detectives so that they could in fact be able to solve crimes more effectively.
Our old systems only gave us the capability to do certain queries, very limited search capabilities.
I wanted to be able to get information that we knew we had. We're kind of a classic case of a big organization not knowing what it knows.
It was out there, it was in multiple forms, paper, separate databases, separate processes, and now the challenge was how do you integrate all of this into an opportunity where there would be one place to go.
The question was, how do we gather that information and get it to our officers on patrol? The answer to that is the Real-Time Crime Center.
The RTCC is a 24-hour, 7-day operation which provides information and investigative support to detectives who are investigating violent crime, and the information is delivered right to them at the crime scene.
It is, in essence, a data warehouse where we brought this information together.
Some of those databases are incident databases, arrest databases, patrol databases, corrections databases, warrants databases.
We've taken a lot of the grunt work out of the hands of the detectives and give them the time to spend what we want to do most, which is hard-nosed detective analysis and solving crimes.
The Real-Time Crime Center can give us information much faster than we can ever gather it ourselves.
He's male Caucasian, 6'2", sugar tattoo on his neck, last seen.
The detectives reached out to us with the nickname of Sugar.
And we were able to bring back a man with a violent robbery history. We pulled up his photo and his physical attributes, and he matched the description to a T. We then helped him develop information on his possible whereabouts.
Myself and a team of detectives from the Midtown North Squad went to a housing project. A group of us walked through the front door, up a flight of stairs, till we came to apartment 2B. We knocked on the door, and inside was our perpetrator.
If it wasn't for the technology that's available here, we wouldn't have been able to solve this case.
Fighting crime is all about information. It's connecting the dots. There are literally hundreds of cases like Sugar. And when you have that information, you're able to connect it all using technology in a place like the Real-Time Crime Center. You're going to make New York and any city a safer place.
The Police Foundation has contributed significant amounts of money for components of the Real-Time Crime Center.
95% of the police department's budget goes for personnel services, leaving only 5% to pay for everything else. Our mission is to close the gap between what they need and what they have, and we do that through the generosity of the citizens of New York.
I believe the city of New York is a safer place today than it was years ago.
That's probably the most satisfying thing here, knowing that we're bringing something important to the police operation at the NYPD. It's improving the way they do business. It's improving the way they solve crime.
I think one of the terrific aspects of what IBM can bring to the table and something that differentiates us is that we can marry all of these aspects, technology, software, services, to help the city of New York fight crime.
What can help us in the short term and the long term? The obvious answer is technology, and we're going to do everything we can to make certain that New York remains in the lead in that regard.
Right now we're at the waterfront of Brooklyn, Williamsburg, and all this is going to be taken down, and all new luxury high-rises are going to go over here. Now, before where they had gangs and graffitis all in this neighborhood, now you see mothers with baby carriages walking into this park, and people do calisthenics. Somehow things changed.
Thank you so much for hearing it out. So this is exactly what technology can bring in. There are resources which are used in terms of the crime files. There are resources which are used in terms of information from a cab driver. And the most important is analytics. How do you actually correlate, create an identity along them, and find out the right person who's the person who's behind all this stuff? whether it is in the case of Saddam Hussein, whether it is the case of Osama, whether in this case of a violent crime or Butler House, or one more which I can't actually name, which has happened only a few months back in Delhi. All these places where technology can play a much, much bigger role than just being a collector of data or just doing a surveillance or just trying to send information to alert services or messaging. But it's more than that. We have to actually have technology taking a much bigger role in that place. I'll just run through fast and just go to the just last mind note, because I have taken 6 minutes in the video. So I have 1 minute left, half a minute left. So usage of technology should be embedded inside the basic crime fighting process. You cannot have, as Sir rightly said, there has to be a legislation, but legislation with a technology input, so that a usage of that technology is also allowed as per legislation. Because if I take a photograph from my mobile, I'm also violating the privacy law because I cannot take every image on the street. So there should be a legislation which helps me. Evaluate technology on the basis of the on the quality of that technology, not based upon the cost. I hear speakers telling, and I hear on the people telling us it's an L1 game and all those stuff. With all due respects, ROI can be brought in with one person caught. The ROI of technology in this case can be brought by saving one innocent life. There is nothing greater than saving one innocent life or catching one criminal. Okay, so don't think about a cost when you are thinking about security or public safety. So that's one message I want to leave. The last one which I want to say is we take pride in ourselves as one of the biggest application developer country. But in the case of security, in cases of tools which are of importance, there are several technological tools available across the globe. Look at the Israeli firms, look at the Finnish firms. There's a company in Spain which actually is the world leader in the voice biometrics. We are not using those stuff. So I'm saying it's not just the IBM. There are several firms which have brought numerous amount of technologies and products. We need to use them properly. Thank you so much for the time. That's it from my side.